All right, guys, we are live for Beat the Banks weekly free training from me, Professor Chris, the DeFi professor here at Beacon DeFi. So we have a couple things to talk about today. What I wanted to talk about today, it's the beginning of the new year, and hopefully everyone is doing well. And really just kind of, well, talking a little bit about what that means. There's a lot of things that have kind of gone on that are probably worth talking about right now. And we'll start off by going to the screen share. About right now. So this is Polymarket. And
what is Polymarket?
We'll
Polymarket
start
is what
we call it prediction market. And the way that a prediction market works, in fact, if you are
so this is Polymarket. Good at coding.
And
what is Polymarket?
We'll
Polymarket
start
we call it prediction.
And you are, and specifically a smart contract developer. This is one of the first examples.
So this is
Polymarket you actually build.
And what is Polymarket?
Polymarket we call it prediction.
And
you are
a voting app.
Specifically a smart contract developer. This is one of the first examples.
So this is Polymarket.
You actually smart contract. So that's specifically exactly you are a voting app. And specifically a smart contract. The other major one. This is one of the first examples. So this is 7 or 8 other actually smart contracts. So that's specifically exactly. This is by far the biggest. That's specifically a smart contract. The other major one. This is one of the first examples. So this is. And really, they're just actually smart contracts. So that's specific. What's interesting is that by far the biggest. That's large companies have taken the other major ones. This is one of the first. It's about. So this is. And really, there's information smart contracts. So that's specific. What's interesting is that by far the biggest. That's large companies have taken the other major ones. This is one of the first. It's about. So this is. And really there's information go and actually just call people for regular meetings. They still continue to do that? Yes. But are we in a situation where we're going to and really there's information go and actually just call people for regular meetings. They still continue to do that? Yes. But are we in a situation where we're going to, I mean, being in this space as long as I have, it's still harder for me to go and just call people for that regular information. Can you do that? Yes. Mainly because are we in a situation? Frankly, not everybody can being in the space as long as I have, right? Every day, people that are out, do they know what a Polymarket is? Regular calculations. Can you do that? Not yet. Because they're starting to make. Frankly, not everybody being in the space as long as I have available in the United States. Every day, people that are out, do they know what a market was actually a project? Can you do that? Not yet. 2 blocks. Because they're starting to make. Frankly, not everybody being in the space as long as I have available in the United States. That are out, do they know what a market was actually but the a lot of where that energy came from everybody these 20 coins have quite some do they know what a market it became very apparent that there are a lot of these markets a lot of where that each of these energy came from everybody these 20 coins the ability for people and the reason why this is important do they know as it became very apparent that there are a lot of these markets this is actually a lot of where that each of these energy came from. So based on, let's say that Kevin, the ability for people, and the reason why this is important as it became very apparent that there are a lot of these this is actually a lot of where that each of these energy came from. So based on, there's 156, let's say that Kevin, the ability for people, in this pool, the reason why this is whoever votes for Kevin Hassett, as it became very apparent that there are a lot of these this is actually a lot of where that each of these energy came from. So based on their 156, let's say that Kevin ability for people in this pool, whoever votes for Kevin Hassett, as it became very apparent that there are a lot of these prediction. In any case, I think the reason why, so based on their 156, let's say that Kevin ability for have come in this pool, whoever votes for Kevin Hassett, as it became very apparent because they're looking for anything. In any case, sentiment amongst the. I think the reason why, so based on their various topics that Google now have come into. We're just scratching the surface with what can happen because they're looking for anything because there are people who are now building projects using a whole bunch of different we're just scratching the surface interpretations of their data to create because there are people who are now building projects different things. There is a bunch of different we're just scratching the surface interpretations of their data to create. To me, this is in my opinion, probably the biggest. There are people who are now building projects things that we're going to. There is a bunch of that did actually come out. They're actually going to interpretations of their data to create. To me, this is in my opinion, probably the biggest. There are people who are now. So here's the first 6 markets of this part. There is a bunch of being able to. They're actually going to interpretations of their data. Where hot spots of real. To me, this is in my opinion, probably the biggest. People are doing. Oh my God! So here's the first 6 markets of this part. There is a bunch of value of Miami in February 1st. They're actually going to. People are quote unquote predicting on spots. To me, this is in my opinion, probably the biggest. So anyway, this is just a very small. Here's the first 6 markets. Because I often get questions like, "Hey, I curious about getting into quote unquote predicting on chain or to me, this is in my opinion, finance because. So anyway, this is just a very small. Here's the first 6 markets. Do things. Because I often get questions why token. I just. Hey, I curious about getting into. The answer to that is yes. On chain or to me, the answer to that is also no. Finance because. So anyway, this is really depends on what the token is. Do things. Essentially, what you're going to do. Why token? I just. We'll start with the very top. One site that we like to use. There's 2 that are out there specifically for tracking. So anyway, this is really depends on what the first one's going to be CoinGecko. The other one, the most people use, is CoinMarket. Essentially, is there a real difference between the 2? Not really. The main difference between one site that we like to use. There's 2 that are out there specifically for they're owned by Coin. They're owned by Binance. The first one's going to be CoinGecko. The other one, the most people use. We always thought that is there a real difference bias there? Not really. The main difference between in any case, we like using sites that we like to use. There's 2 that are out there. In fact, I like CoinMarket. They're owned by Coin. They're owned by Binance. The first one's going to be CoinGecko has a really cool tool. We always thought that is there a real difference bias there? We have created called the main difference between in any case, we like using sites that we like to use. There's 2 that are out there. In fact, I like CoinMarket. They're owned by Coin. They're owned by Binance. The first one's going to be CoinGecko has a really cool tool. We always thought that is there a real difference bias there? We have created called the main difference between in any case, we like using sites that we like to use. There's 2 that are out there. In fact, I like CoinMarket. Yep, that's me. Echoed through 4 different platforms that I'm. I'm very sorry about that. That probably sounded terrible. Let me check something real quick. Well, nothing on chat, so that's good. I apologize about that immensely. I didn't realize that the audio of me echoing 15 different places, which is the unfortunate part sometimes when you're restreaming to multiple places, is that you can get echoed to quite a few things. So let me kind of recenter myself here. It's a good thing I picked up on that. I normally don't wear ears because normally I'm not talking to anybody, but I should probably just remember to just double check that. I did start off talking a lot about Polymarket, which could be still very confusing for a lot of people who are looking at things like Kalshi and Polymarket and trying to understand what they even mean. To most people, they will mean probably nothing. Sorry, I thought something was happening in my house, that somebody was injured or something. Everything seems to be fine. But when it comes to actually finding about tokens, CoinGecko is where you're going to want to go, or CoinMarketCap. Now, these do provide prices specifically for coins. So if there's a certain coin that you're interested in, you want to know the price of Bitcoin, ETH, XRP, Solana, BNB, Tron, anything you can think of, Monero, some of these others, Zcash, which has been in the news lately, Canton Network, quite a few others that are out here. I mean, we're going to go all the way down into, like, there's thousands of coins, right? And this is all based on market cap. So we're even down to RSR at this point at 311 at just under a penny. Brett is listed here. Oh, good for them. And really what this does is it just kind of gives you an idea of these coins. For example, Convex. Now, what this does help do, and if we do the same here on CoinMarketCap, you can see all the same coins, is it gives you a little bit of information on the coins themselves, right? So if I'm on CoinMarketCap, let me start here with Polkadot, for example. You're going to see a lot of information here. You're going to see what's the market cap, and you can hover over these to get a better definition. Let me actually make this a little bit bigger. Okay. Which is the total market value of a cryptocurrency's circulating supply. Fully diluted value is the overall supply. And this is interesting too, because the unlocked market cap is important as well, because some coins could still be locked or vested or cliffed, as we called them, and not in circulating supply just as of yet. You get to see the total and circulating supply here and the volume overall. And I think this is just for major CEXs. Yes. In the last 24 hours. Now, one thing to note, if you are interested in Polkadot, is where can I buy Polkadot? That's where this markets section comes in. You can also get there from up here. Click on markets and you'll be taken here. If I go to CoinGecko and I look for the same thing, and if you can't really find anything, you can always just use the search box here. We'll just search for DOT. And we have a very similar setup here, right? They also have a thing for markets. And theirs is a little bit, in my opinion, probably a little bit more nicely laid out, but I'm not sure if this is... Okay, there we go. 133. Yeah, I think it's a little bit more nicely laid out. Overall, they're about, I mean, they pretty much give the exact same information. A little bit cluttered here on the CoinMarketCap side. But what's important here, and yeah, I still think that it's still a little bit better over here with regards to just showing the real estate. So this is going to be on CoinGecko, very similar. So you have some filters here that I want to point out. You have centralized exchanges and decentralized exchanges. Decentralized exchanges will be where you can find them on blockchains, whereas centralized exchanges, that's going to be a centralized entity like a Coinbase, Binance, Kraken, Crypto.com. Meaning if you buy something on an exchange on those properties, they stay there in that exchange. Whereas if you buy them in a decentralized manner on a blockchain, it'll be owned by you, self-custody in your wallet. Depending on whether that's going to be it's most likely going to be in a web-based wallet, or it can also be in a hardware wallet, depending on how you want to go about it. That's outside the scope of what we're talking about right here. But we'll just use the all button here because it does signify where you can purchase it. And what we're looking for here are two things. We want to know specifically from a depth perspective where the best places to buy, and I would like to sort by volume in this case, because in general that just kind of shows, especially with this trust score, how recently that was there. Now, one thing you'll notice here is that the price is different. It's not the same price at every single vendor or every single CEX. And the main reason for that is because each of them has their own, what we call a pricing oracle, saying what is the price of this at any one time. Now, will this stay the same? No, they'll eventually come to parity because we'll see what's called an arbitrage trade, where you can buy cheaply somewhere and then sell it for more somewhere else. They'll eventually even out. And that's the beautiful thing about how crypto overall works, is that arbitrage can helps keep the price solid. Now, this is at a CEX level, so you will most likely, these are going to be spot prices. So you will actually hold the asset. It's not a perpetual or an exposure play where you just own a digital asset whose value is pegged to it. You don't actually own the actual asset. One thing to note here is how the pair is denominated. In this case, this is with USDT or Tether stablecoin. So you'll need to go to the exchange, deposit some money from a credit card, bank account, investment account, and then purchase USDT in order to buy this with USDT held in your account. Now, in this case, yeah, mainly volume is what I'm looking for here. Sometimes +2 and -2 depth around the current price is always good because that's where you know you have really active trading going on. But this is the best way to figure out how to purchase it. Now, I don't know. I've never been to CoinW. I don't even know if as a US person I can actually use CoinW, but it'll show you exactly where you can go and purchase the coin using this icon, which normally means open in a new window, is generally what that means. So you can at Binance, MEXC, Coinbase, Bybit, and some other smaller exchanges. But that's how you're going to figure out where to buy it from a centralized exchange perspective. Now, if you're looking to do it in DeFi or on a blockchain, you can just click on DEX. It'll show you exactly which places you can buy them on and on what blockchain. In this case, well, Hydration, which is one of the major DEXs on in the Polkadot ecosystem, that's the best place to buy it in DeFi. Otherwise, you can go somewhere like Uniswap. This will be on Ethereum, where you can buy DOT. And looks like the volume is fairly low here, but it's probably the best amongst everything that's here. So CoinGecko is not always going to have the best metrics on this, but Gecko Terminal, which is their DEX tracking tool, probably would. So if you're looking to go into DeFi to find it, you can just type in DOT, which is the name of the asset, and then we can look to see where we can buy it. And here it is on Solana. There's a couple different versions, but this would, well, what is the price of 207? So why is it 412 here? So that's not really what we're looking for either. This is .not, that's why. That's not correct. But these dots are correct. So you can buy it on Base, you can buy it on BNB Chain, on Arbitrum, and Ethereum. These are all the places you can purchase DOT. The price should be roughly similar across all. There might be some arbitrage opportunities there as well. Blockchains use off-chain oracles, whether it's through Chainlink or another type of oracle, such as a pull oracle, like with Pyth, our friends at Pyth Networks, Redstone, and there are a couple others as well that provide oracle services with pricing. But the reason why you like the off-chain version is because that means it's less prone to being manipulated by on-chain activity. Looks like this is on BNB Chain for that as well. So yes, when you're looking for a coin and you want to purchase it just to hold it spot, these are going to be your best options on how to do that. Now, this also answers the question of, if I have a token are there places for me in decentralized finance, which are places where you can go and put those assets to work and also earn some yield? The answer to that's a little bit more nuanced, because you have to know, are there places with deep enough liquidity that can A, facilitate a trade for you, and B, have enough liquidity for you to provide liquidity and then earn off of every trade between your asset and another asset, whether it's ETH or SOL or USD, whichever that is. So let's take this with a different example. And today I'm going to use XRP as the example. So XRP currently sitting at 209, fourth in terms of market cap amongst all the majors. And again, what we'll do is we'll go to markets. And as you can see, these are all CEXs. If I just go to DEX, this will give a little bit of a better idea of where we can find liquidity for this. Now it's pretty good here. This is on Sologenic. Now the one thing I can tell you about Sologenic is that they're specifically a part of the XRPL, which is the XRP ledger, which is their version of DeFi. First Ledger, also a very large wallet there, and a DEX on XRPL. So those are two places where we could possibly find using XRP to our, to actually do something with. Well, the issue here is just how do you get there? And that's kind of outside the scope of this today, but we can talk about that on a future episode. So what we do need to do in order to purchase this XRP, again, this is in RLUSD. Let me see if are there other versions. I don't think so. I think it's all just in RLUSD, which is a Ripple stablecoin that you would use here. But you would need to have a wallet that's funded. And this is where things can get a little iffy if you're not familiar with how this works. So because this is inside the XRP ledger, there are multiple wallets that you can use here, whether it be through Solo. You can connect your ledger device directly, but I don't know if this is going to work exactly the way you think it will. There's also Decent. There's also Zamin, which is probably the most popular. I've never used Crossmark. So I don't have any of those installed on here as a web extension, which is what you would need to connect here. But that's how you would buy it in terms of going to DeFi. So ultimately, for some of these assets, it's just better to utilize, rather just to buy them on a centralized exchange and then hold them inside of a hardware wallet. The reason you want to do that is because a hardware wallet in this case is cold storage. With regards to which one you should buy, there's a whole bunch that are out there. The ones that we recommend specifically are Ledger and Trezor, and also Lattice, Grid Plus Lattice, Keystone's fine. When it comes to cold storage, it doesn't matter which one you want to use, honestly. As long as it has EAP 5 rated security. Now Ledger's definitely going to have that, but if we're looking at something, for example, like a Keystone, you're going to want to make sure that it has EAP5 at the very least. 3-element chips, PCI. Which is fine. I mean, you can use Tangem. There's a variety out there. Like the Arcturus. There's a whole bunch of cold storage solutions that are out there. It just has to be up to snuff in return with regards to certifications like EAP5. Anything higher than that, even better, but at the very minimum EAP5, and just a way to keep that money safe. Also a way for you to easily recover if that company goes out of business. If it's an open source project, kind of like Keystone is, that's good too, because that means that other people can build on this and possibly take over the project should something happen to Keystone overall. But that's really what you need to be doing with regards to buying crypto and then storing it, because that'll be the one thing that you're really going to want to do. How do I store the crypto that I'm buying after I buy it? Because you shouldn't be keeping it on the CEX unless you're looking to trade with it, right? And if you're looking to trade using that CEX, like you're going to use Coinbase One or Binance or MEXC, whoever is out there, that's one thing. But please, and I've seen people do this, I see people talk about it all the time, do not use a centralized exchange, a CEX, like a bank. Because should something happen, and let's just say you made 5 or 6 withdrawals and deposits within like a 10-minute period, or do something that they may flag as suspicious activity, they will deplatform you and lock your account, and then you don't have access to your coins. One reason why we prefer self-custody is the phrase that we use, which is your keys, your crypto. Meaning, if you are self-custodying those assets, like on a hardware wallet or on another wallet that you have that you control, then it is your crypto. You are in the process of custodying it by yourself. If you leave it on Binance, if you leave it on Coinbase, you run the risk of something happening and you can't access your money. And I know that people are like, oh, that probably doesn't happen. Go look on what happened on October 10th. And that should tell you everything that you need to know about why, when it comes to protecting your wealth and your assets, you are better off holding that money yourself. It's just kind of the way that the cookie crumbles in this case. You want to be able to have access to your assets at all times. So you're not in a situation where you don't have access to all of that money. GM to Fa Sheng in the chat. Just saying hello to everybody who's available, who's around. Whether you're on Den.show, on Abstract, on Retake.tv, on Zora, on YouTube, Twitch, hello to you. Thanks for watching us here on Beat the Banks. I did want to bring up a couple other tools that'll help you with this journey in terms of deciding what to buy. And we talk about this on our podcast very often, which is every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern. That's our Total Value Log podcast. And we use something called crypto bubbles. Now, when we just call them bubbles. But what does crypto bubbles do? What it does is it measures I think it's the price. Yes, the price of an asset over specific times. And right now we're on week, but it can also do it for hour, per day, per month, and then we can get a year to date. This is a fun little thing. And this is year to 1 year from today, or 1 year backwards from today. So it's not from the beginning of the year, but it's from 365 days from today's date. So looking at the day, you can check to see a whole bunch of different things that are going on here. Now, if you scroll downwards, you can see the majority of the coins that are here, and these should match what we see in CoinGecko based on market cap. And you have this kind of the same things, places you can go to buy and trade what they are. And there's also links to the CoinMarketCap, to the CoinGecko, and the TradingView chart for that specific asset. Let's do Hyperliquid in this case, because everyone loves Hyperliquid. Going to the TradingView for this, you can get an idea of what that looks like. I'm going to bring this down to the 4 hour, and that kind of gives you an idea of what the charts looked like since it launched back in March of last year. Now this is on MEXC, which is that's certainly a place to chart it from. But there we are. So you have an idea of where the price has gone, that type of thing. Crypto bubbles can be a really popular tool specifically for looking at, from a research perspective, well, just answering the question why. Why is Atom up 10%? And ultimately what you can do here is you can check the CoinMarketCap view. And normally, well, I mean, it'll be both. You'll see the latest news that's available for what's going on. Are shorts getting wrecked? Interesting. I don't see anything here that really just is screaming buy Atom. Wait, let me go back to that South Korean thing. Temporary suspension of all deposit and no for Atom. Okay. And again, nothing really telling me any real reasons. Like the fact that they're saying reach the $10 mark by 2030. It wasn't that long ago, guys, that Atom was $35. Wait, $15. Wasn't that long ago. But there's a lot of reasons why, for the most part, we have kind of just poo-pooed on Cosmos overall. Mainly because they're just from a DeFi perspective, there's a lot of parts of the network that are just shutting down. You're getting a lot of teams who had a lot of VC money trying to build something in Cosmos, because Cosmos is obviously fantastic. They use really great smart contract language with CosmWasm. A lot of great projects building there. They just don't have the traction that Solana, that Base, and other EVM chains have. Just to do a quick map of zones, which shows the entire Cosmos Interchain Blockchain Consortium, the IBC. You can see all of these layer 1 blockchains that live inside of Cosmos. All of this is inside of Cosmos, guys. It's a huge network of ecosystems that has the Cosmos Hub in the center. Now, what's different about Cosmos is that most of these groups, they serve specific purposes is the wrong word, but Osmosis is considered the main DEX. Secret is a privacy network. DYDX is a large perp DEX. Injective has access to everything. Neutron, Noble is the main issuer of native USDC and other currencies. This is interesting because Dimension just expanded to Solana, so I have no idea what's happening there. Anyway, outside the scope of today, but overall, it's hard for me to be excited about Atom. But anyway, that was with Bubbles. And what they can do is just kind of give you something to consider looking into, like especially for the month. Since December 9th. We're seeing a lot of interesting movers. Render up 33, Pepe rebounding up at 26, Pax Gold at 6.4. There's a lot of movement with gold. A lot of precious metals getting a lot of love right now. So there's a lot of things there. Monero, XMR, delisted by a bunch of exchanges, but it's a privacy meta, and privacy is huge right now. Virtual AI payment agents. That should surprise nobody. Polygon. If you do your research, they just came out with a new open money stack because they're looking to build Polygon up into a monstrous layer 2. Canton Network CC, I think this is one that people shouldn't sleep on. Now that most of the airdrop farmers are out, this could be something that gains a little bit of momentum as probably the premier ecosystem for institutions that are out there. So There's a little bit of alpha for you. Anyway, Crypto Bubbles is really good for getting into that type of research. And that's really the whole thing. So understanding from a perspective of crypto and tokens and what you'd like to hold to build out your portfolio, you can use all of these tools to do that. Now, that is different, like I said, than getting into DeFi and trying to, utilize one of the more than dozen different DeFi mechanisms that are out there to earn yield. Mainly because, like I mentioned, there's no guarantee that the asset that you're buying, like for example BNB, this is a bad example, but has places in decentralized finance where you can buy. Now BNB, of course, it's a blockchain. It's a layer 2 blockchain, just like Polygon. It's owned by Binance. No doubt that BNB, which got to $1,300 in the last 6 months, now it's currently at $893. I mean, the fact that we were looking at $200 BNB in the face like 2.5 years ago, I mean, it's clearly had a ridiculous return to form and hitting all-time highs in the last 6 months. Understanding the right way to research these coins and how you can actually bring them down to an ecosystem like BNB Chain, and then farm it to earn yield, passive income, is really the key of how decentralized finance can be so powerful. And I do want to, bring up our company. That is our free group, Total Value Locked. This is our school. You can join for free, school.com/beacon. And if you want to learn a little bit more about how decentralized finance works, how to get into a blockchain, we have plenty of that information there. We do have quite a bit of free content, but if you'd like to have personal mentorship from me, take our Beacon Challenge, join those who are already doing that. You can get access to all that here in our Start Here post. You'll get a message from myself and our CEO, Andrew, and you'll see our different strategies that we have that you can look into. So again, school.com/beacon, absolutely free to join. Join the many who have come over looking to become financially free in the world of crypto and digital assets. If you book a call, we'll give you a free complimentary portfolio analysis as well. Tell you where we think your portfolio looks in terms of how holding it for future appreciation, the ability to figure out if you can find really good strategies for moving forward and farming these things to get really great yield. It's all very much out there. School.com/beacon. School.com/beacon. Okay. That was really the main thing I wanted to cover today, honestly. Was just trying to break down, because I get this a lot. Chris, I bought X and Y crypto. What can I do with it? In a lot of cases, not a ton, right? Now, that's getting better, right? XRP has the XRP ledger. I mean, obviously, Solana and EVM are the two best things that are out there. Stablecoins are great. Stablecoins can be used anywhere in DeFi, just about. All the major stablecoins that are out here. So do we have a stablecoin category? Yeah, we do. So Tether, Circle, USDC, Sky Money, which is USDS, Athena's USDE, DAI, PayPal USD, USD1, which is from President Trump's World Liberty Financial, Tether Gold, which is a stablecoin tied to the price of gold. These are all available. Everything on this page is available on a blockchain or within multiple ecosystems. So definitely something to consider looking into. For those who are brand new to this space, I recommend very much doing stablecoin farming, because it's an easy way for you to kind of dip your toes into, to earning and setting up what we call our digital savings account, where you literally just come in with a stablecoin and you earn something that's way better than what's going to be at your bank, right? So if I just come to Camino on Solana, rates are a little compressed right now. This was 12% last week. This cash earn was 11. You're in a situation where you're earning, because I can tell you at my credit union, I'm getting 0.025%. If I want to get 0.5% APR, not APY, these are APY, by the way, these are all compounding, they compound daily. I have to put up a $500,000 just to get a 0.5%, 0.5%. Whereas right here with Cash Earn or even Centaura PayPal USD, I'm getting roughly 9%. With plus incentives of a couple different things that are being put out weekly. So I'm earning additional rewards, which is fantastic. They also have the ability to do liquidity pools on Camino. These are all auto-compounded and auto-rebalanced, meaning you just put in the money and you can just sit there and just hang out. Or same thing, roughly about, this was 11 yesterday, but that's still not bad. I mean, we're looking at volume of 36 million being put through every single day. So let me see if I just do stables. And these are 7-day rates, so this can change weekly. That doesn't make any sense. Yeah, so this is probably the first place I'd start, maybe with this high-low USD, USDC. I mean, there's quite a few things you can look into. We were just looking on our mastermind call at Fluid, because there are strategies on Fluid. You can get into one of these leverage positions. And again, you want to do it on a stable coin or a correlated asset. USDE, USDT, these are stable coins with a leverage of 12.5x, getting 20%. So that's attractive. The one thing you want to watch out for, if you're a little bit more advanced and you understand how this works, is how well these stable coins can keep their peg to $1. Now, not all stable coins are meant to be at exactly pegged at $1, right? And movement and liquidity helps, just can kind of move this around. Like USDT can average between 98 and 99 cents, or if things get a little scary, not scary, but a little fun, $1, maybe possibly. There's a little bit of latitude there. USDE sometimes can trade a little bit above $1. Just depends on where we're at on that. So there is a little bit of movement between those. So you can set a wider range if you're doing concentrated liquidity for that. But if you're going to do a tight range, again, this is based on borrowing and lending. For this specific rate, we can get up to 12x leverage and get 20% on your money, which is pretty good. Pretty good. In fact, one thing you get paid for when you're doing stuff like this is, for example, the Camino example. The reason why you get paid this amount of rate is that, let's say that I go to a bank and that I'm only getting let's be generous, right? Because I can go to NerdWallet right now, right, and get 4.5% at some online bank, right? Let's just go look. Banking, savings accounts, best high yield savings accounts. Santander, Open Bank, high yield savings. Minimum $500 balance for this APY of 4.2%. SoFi, 4%, with a little bit of a bonus. The only issue you're going to have is with some of these, they don't actually have a brick and mortar location. So you actually have to wire in money. You can possibly use an ATM within the network. You can direct deposit, that's fine. But the banking system is old and outdated, right? The beautiful thing about stable coins is that they're quickly settling. The best example I can give you is when I go to pay my car payment, which my daughter drives. I have my online banking account because I use one that's mostly online, which I got here from NerdWallet, and my car loan is through my credit union. I can send money, pay for that there. It takes 3 business days for that money to go through. I can settle anything on chain now in less than in milliseconds. And that's coming. 2026 is the year of disruption. From 2018 to 2025, disruption, innovation, new ideas, experimentation. Now that we have the Genius Act that's been enacted in August, Clarity Act is going to be voted on, most likely passed next week. We're going to have that whole market structure in. Now we have all kinds of institutions. Morgan Stanley just filed for a Bitcoin Sol and ETH ETF. That's huge for them because they're one of the first major banks to do this. So institutional adoption, integration of DeFi into what you're looking at is coming. Are we going to see regular checking accounts, money markets, where you might get roughly 4% on your money? Yeah, most likely. What are they going to make you do for it? Probably put $200,000 down, because they're only going to save, because they're losing on this, right? Because here in DeFi, you're your own bank. They're taking your money and they're providing it as collateral on up to 30 different strategies, either here on Camino or cross-chain through other types of strategies that are around through different ecosystems. Much like what a bank would do. You deposit $100, let's say $1,000 into a bank. 90% of that is gone in seconds and being placed into a variety of different dark pools, whatever that's out there that banks can put their money into. They're going to make 6%, roughly 5 to 6% on that, if they're lucky. How much are you getting off of it? 0. You might get a penny here and there. Obviously, we're looking at these high yield savings accounts. My opinion, this money comes from somewhere else. It doesn't come from how much they're actually making. So, anyway, are we in a situation where it's just going to be overrun by banks and the little guy's going to get squeezed out? Potentially. I'm not going to lie to you and say that it's not possible, because we see groups like JP Morgan, Morgan Stanley, Bank of America, other banks looking to make their way down into Visa and MasterCard already here, Stripe already here. They're a huge part of this whole stablecoin movement. So you can see it first with credit cards. You could see a drop in credit card rate, especially if Stripe says that we'll make it so if you pay with crypto, you only have to pay like 1%, 1.5%. Because right now, like for most credit cards and merchant fees, you're paying like 2.9 to 3.2% or something like that, right? That's all changing. Now, Visa and MasterCard have been testing in decentralized finance for years. And now they finally have, in 2025, opened up a lot of their practice. MasterCard has MasterCard Move and MasterCard Move 360, which allows merchants to both buy and receive crypto, or even settle their sales in crypto if they wanted to. That's available. Same thing with Visa. So all these rails are here. It's all just a matter of people using it at this point. So we'll see exactly what happens. But there's a lot that has to happen to get these rates, right? Will they get better? I don't think they will. I think they'll be roughly about this rate, because my God, 4% is fantastic, right? Until you go somewhere else, and then suddenly you're in a situation. I'll use Gearbox as an example, where suddenly you're making 9%. This was 11% about 3 hours ago. Anyway, these are all stable coins except for Mon and ETH. But the rest of these are mostly are all stable coins. So the rates are out there. Liquidity plays are out there. You depositing stablecoin money to farm to get between 6 and 10%, up to 15%, depending on the strategy, definitely out there. But I did want to cover today for people who come to me and they're like, hey, I bought some of this FET. Can you tell me a little bit more about if it's worth it? I mean, I don't know. I don't think so. Mainly because I think in the world of DeFi, where I can take assets that I want to hold and have them work for me. There's no working of FET. Let me walk that back slightly. You can farm it on Ethereum mainnet, but then you have to pay gas fees and all that fun stuff. Far be it from me to tell you to not buy crypto coins that you have high conviction in. Like, for example, Islamic coin, which I guess is not haram. It's a halal crypto. In the event that you feel that Islamic coin is going to go to $1, so you can just scoop some up now. Or even those of you who continue to buy XRP. Who am I to tell you not to get rid of it? Because what if it does go to $10 in 5 years? It could. It could. But it could also drop down to back to 50 cents. Right? You just have to be prudent about what you have. Don't put all your money in one thing. We have a full system on having allocation-based buckets so that you're not over-invested or overexposed to any one thing, because it's very easy in this space. I see it all the time. People aren't very safe. They're getting drained. They put all their money into one thing, and then they get pissed off that this project went terrible, and now they're leaving crypto for good, thinking it's terrible, when really, they over-invested. Simple as that. Anyway, that's all I had for you guys today. Hopefully you found some great value. Again, we do this training every Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern. If you like what you saw, please join us on our Wednesday podcast. Follow us here on our socials. They're here along the bottom for Beacon DeFi. You can follow me personally at C. Soriano. Wednesday, 1 p.m. Eastern is when we do our flagship Total Value Log podcast. It's normally a panel-style podcast where we'll look at the news of the week, and we'll talk about how it affects you overall as an investor. A lot of people find good value in that because there's so much news out there that they're not really sure exactly what to look at. So, for example, and we don't necessarily talk about this, but I do quite a bit of research. I spend at least 40 hours a week on research period. DeFi Llama is a great place where I will go and look for some news that I don't find on crypto Twitter through all my RSS feeds. Sometimes if there's something here that happens that kind of makes the market go a little fuzzy, and you're trying to figure out, well, how did that happen? Well, oftentimes just understanding how that works and how to interpret that is what we specialize specifically. I put together a panel every week. Sometimes it's just myself, but mostly we have panels every week of people who have experience in this business and are from great protocols and ecosystems that you should pay attention to. So getting their opinion means a lot to me. Anyway, have a great weekend. Hopefully you found value in today. And again, please follow along. We'd love to have your support. And we'll see you next week. 07. Take care. Beacons up. Banks down. Keep beating those banks, guys. Take care. Have a great weekend.